So you got the Twitch chat spam at the top right, which is from the actual original channel, and you got my chat as well above. So you can sort of get the idea of what people may think. Yeah, it's going to be based in the Amazon. It's going to be like Amazon Women, so it's a women-only expansion.
Hi everyone.
Oh, here we go.
I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today
Lip syncing
are my friends Ian Hauzakostas,
number 2,
who is the Game Director for World of
lip
Warcraft,
smacking,
and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year.
all
And
the
especially
feedback.
our community council. You've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular, the story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them, and us realizing
No,
as a
it's
team
not.
that
What?
we just collectively needed to do a better
I mean,
job
I haven't even played the World of
making sure the
Warcraft
community felt heard, and so that led
expansion
us
in
to the changes
ages,
we made in 9.15, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations
maybe the last patch
of
or
World of
two.
Warcraft,
I mean, like the
about
last
things
month or
like
two, they've
character
started to
investment
backtrack.
and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems.
Interesting.
And I think 9.15 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play it.
Yes,
And we really
this is what they
built our
needed to
Eternities
do,
and
but they
content update from the ground up
started doing it
around
way
those
too late.
principles.
What are some of the things that the community said that influenced your decisions for Eternities In?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned.
Well, he's
in
like
the
trying to
course of
convince
9.15
himself, I swear it.
into
So
Eternity's
I
End
will
and
be
beyond.
talking over this a little bit,
WoW
because this is a
Classic
react,
was really
but I'll link
came
the
about
actual
because
original
of the community.
if you want to see
they
it without
continue
my
to
reaction, so to
help
speak.
guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been about the world and the players that inhabit it. And we are, in a lot of ways, curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this classic community formed,
If the expansion is a
and grew,
dragon expansion,
we had to listen
and it's
to
going to have
It's
Alexstrasza,
this
I reckon
tide
they
of
will put
listening to
more
the
armor on
community
her.
and paying attention to what is a good experience for our players now. And where we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery round, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic.
That Steve
And
Danusi
initially
guy
we
or
were talking
whoever
about it
isn't
like
at
it
this
was going to
table,
be like
is
a
he?
fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season.
missing.
It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it
Yes.
and turned, what had started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of
That's-
Season of Mastery.
why is this
and a
weird,
whole new
awkward nodding?
opt-in hardcore mode.
It feels
that
so
we've seen
fake.
Communities built around,
Yeah.
lots of, thrilling victory and painful defeat.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah, and it continues. Like Burning Crusade Classic, we wanted to balance the Paladin seals.
Wrath of the
between
Lich
Horde
King
and
Classic,
Alliance,
let's
so we
go.
made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without.
I'm
the
actually curious as to what level you
community's
start off.
So
If they-
influence
well,
the
they will
community.
announce
You've
that,
got
but when
another
they do it.
update and pretty
the Death Knight.
significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming in 9.25, which is on our public test realm now as a big centerpiece.
A nod video about this, the amount of times they nod.
Tradition.
I could
Yeah,
do that.
It was not an easily made decision by any means, and I think this is.
They're like
another one of those
bobbleheads
areas
at the
where really
moment.
We.
It's like someone's like-
Heart, community feedback and requests, and ask
Knocked
ourselves
them.
as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the.
If someone is nodding this much,
desire
it
to
feels
play with
like
their
they are
friends
being
who might prefer a
disingenuous.
different
That's what it
faction,
tells me.
Or to play with the faction that they more
They're like
closely
pretending
identify
to be
with,
nice or something.
even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players
Poor
the ability
Teldrassil.
to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew
Needs
had an
more
excellent
nodding.
character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix, a bit of a greatest hits, revisiting all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some.
So the important question
familiar
is
older favorites into the Mythic Plus
what
rotation.
mounts can I buy at the
We
start?
recognize this is kind of a closing chapter, a little bit of a send-off. to
What special
Shadowlands.
boosts
As
can I
everyone
buy
gets
to
ready
give
for what
myself an
happens
advantage?
Next, what will come next? Want to give a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth.
It's about
We're
time.
going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
This is it. Hold on to your butts. $10,000 years. It's the War of the Ancients, isn't it?
The world has been sundered.
Sounds like Alex.
Cries out in pain. We must go to its aid.
Yeah, there's some dragons flying up there.
We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
I always like how the World of Warcraft did golems. They're always quite cool.
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land.
Oh, he's sleepy.
You must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Looks like a Greek expansion. Aww. Looks like he overslept. Could you imagine if you got a whole movie with like these graphics? That would look so cool. It's a very slow build up. Trying to get the Batman signal off. Do we get to play as a golem? Oh, that's cool. He's gonna do that heroic thing where they... This is the Avengers 4, but he's got the power of the sun, the dwarf sun or whatever. Blasting throne. Yeah, 4 building Stormbreaker. Oh, you did it, buddy. Huzzah! She left it to the last moment, didn't she? Classic woman. Never ready on time.
The world is healing.
Dragon Mist Isles?
Fate is yet uncertain.
Is that what it's going to be called? I've not really looked up any spoilers for this, so. But it looks like an isle, doesn't it? There's dragons. It's misty.
Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
I thought... Wait. Are we going back in the past, or... Oh, it's Dragonflight. It was Dragonflight, huh? Are we going back in the past? Because it said 10,000 years ago, didn't it? And she says a new dragon. So this is the...
Dragons!
Dragons.
How's that
This
going
is
to
so
work?
cool.
No one saw it coming.
No one saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean, what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian.
No, it
searching
did say 10,000
for
years ago,
his
and then
father's
now.
legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off. Is that summoning the dragons?
In
Is
Cataclysm,
removing
the dragons
concealment
were
that had
supposed to
hidden
give
the
up
Dragon
all their
Isles from the
powers and
world,
that.
But also beckoning the dragons.
They gave it up for
back
about 10
urgently
years and then came back.
in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of locales within the Dragon Isles.
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones.
I like the
and a
look
new
of the
starter
zones.
zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread
I definitely
the
think this is a
dragon
filler
aspects
expansion.
throughout the
But
environment?
maybe it's got good
The
content.
Dragon Isles were a
Even if
place
it's
that
filler
was
in terms of...
lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy.
story,
as
you know?
Azeroth herself reawakens, those
It's like they don't even know
primal
what to
forces
do
are
with World of
expressed
Warcraft
throughout the
anymore,
environment,
so
whether it's
dragons, I
magma
guess.
activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span, and each
You're-
one of those
you'll be in
has a
prison for
connection
10,000
to
years,
a
Kent.
Dragonflight that we've seen before, and it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
All right, you know I'm going to ask.
Yes. Okay. So.
Can I be a dragon?
Let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you, as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Dracthyr race.
Oh.
This is a dragon.
Oh,
a
no,
draconic
this is like the
race,
next
but
version of
dragons in
Furries.
Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes?
Furry dragon.
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly. But telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Dracthyr, you will be the Evoker class. Dracthyr can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be Dracthyr. And the reason why only a Dracthyr could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really
Balance
combining
reasons.
the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Dracthyr has, the ability to actually take flight and do an Onyxia-style strafing deep breath over
So,
the
I've
battlefield,
got Demon
land on
Hunter
the other
vibes here.
side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
The Evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either ranged DPS or healer, and they wear male armor. We figured, you know, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those. And also probably don't need any more leather wearers.
Wow.
The raid leaders are going to love
No
you.
melee.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class. And so that means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58. And then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah, do they have a tank
customizations,
class, or is
like
it just
what
ranged
is
DPS
going to
and
be able
healer?
to identify my Dracthyr character?
Basically anything and everything. You know, skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos, other adornments. You can make this character the expression of your identity in Azeroth.
New zone.
Your identity
new class,
seems like a
Yep.
new race.
specific-
Well, tell us about some of the system updates. or
phrase
features.
used
Of course,
there,
the new
a word.
expansion brings with it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems.
Okay.
Things like
The mechanics
our
are the important
progression
thing. What are they
systems,
going to
in this case, our
introduce?
talent system
The actual
is something we
gameplay
want to
systems.
completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI.
Because
We
even
want
if
to
you
take a
don't
look
like
at
the idea of
professions.
the expansion
So
of
with
the
the
dragons,
talent revamp and
the actual
arrival
gameplay
of
itself could
Classic,
still be
did you
good.
learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things
yeah.
that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond.
That dragon
A big
map.
piece of that was some of just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way. But also, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system avoids directly pitting player power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices.
Just stop giving so much player power and it won't be a problem.
And we also understand that there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So
Mods
you're
are
not alone in
banned.
that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp. This is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. At the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
and can I reduce elements, remove elements, if I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth?
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
What is your profession?
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword.
Professions is something
you
they
can
do
put
need
that work
to
order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and
sort of
a
bring
skilled
back a little
blacksmith
bit.
can come along
It's
and make you
hard.
the weapon of your dreams.
I think we left out one thing, though. You can be a Dracthyr, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of
You should be a dragon who
dragons
can
if
ride a
not
dragon.
soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling Dragonriding.
Yeah.
It's dynamic.
So it's
with,
like the
everything
Worgen can
from momentum
sprint
to
really
dive
fast.
bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that should be much more exciting than traditional flight that we've made available in the past, but that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So
Yeah, although she was riding a dragon,
this
yeah.
is a skill you learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start. And the Dragon Companion that you have is, of course, very
I do like the look of the
customizable, which is
terrain,
a
though.
new thing for us for mounts.
It looks
This
very
is
nice and colourful,
Not just
you know.
a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
This is so cool.
So the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Dracthyr class, as well as a range of systems revamps.
It's definitely a
such as
furry
new
dragon.
talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of Dragonriding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a sense from the start.
It
And of
doesn't
course,
feel like
as with
there's
any new
much
expansion,
there,
we
though.
have a new set of dungeons, a raid,
Oh, there you
and
go.
much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't
You need a
forgotten
deep
about
dive to
you.
explain what the hell's
You can
going on.
probably guess where we're going to go next. One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
Wrath of the Lich King.
We had forgotten. Did you think we had forgotten?
I'm getting chills, yeah.
Just begun. Not my king yet.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
Please let us kill Sylvanas in this expansion. Like, that's the only thing they need to change in Wrath of the
My
Lich King,
days have come to an end.
is make Sylvanas a killable character.
You shall be king.
Man, that was so embarrassing. She was like, "Begone, Arthas Menafall. Well, I'm done with you now. You can go."
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic,
Properly
I get
random
chills.
for good.
No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many
Wow,
memories.
this year as
When
well.
you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source? That was the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo and chunks of ice falling off and having to repeat that battle with the Lich King. But when we finally downed him, it was such an incredible moment. He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah, did it. So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with this expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55. You don't have
Wow.
to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight, so everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give
55.
players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump into Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones
So gonna
and
have to
areas
level through
explore
Outland again.
in Northrend, and I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my
At least I have
heart.
good
The
experience
music
of
was
doing
some
that.
of the best I've experienced in World of Warcraft.
I still make my way all the way up to Storm Peaks to try and find the time-lost Protodrake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say Dragonflight. The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest Temple in the center of it, it's an unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes. So one thing we looked at is Dungeon Finder, and it feels like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit for our community.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now,
Wait,
as
what are you gonna
people
do
have gone
about
through the
purchasable
experience of
mounts
going
then?
Back to vanilla, rebuilding those groups, relying on each other, not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
If they get rid of
Yeah,
that,
makes
but don't
total
get rid
sense.
of...
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listened to the community and we removed that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also,
So did they
Wrath of the
remove
Lich King,
Looking for
Armor
Great?
Shop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not existing when Wrath launched, but also
Interesting
there's
that
another
they
side of
did.
this where we are not going to charge a real money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do that just be available in game for gold and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell batching in a sense. There's a lot of technical advancements, and it's not about the philosophy of what makes classic classic and what brings.
Because if they're
people
getting rid of the
together,
looking
it's
for
just
dungeon
what's the better
thing,
experience,
but they're still
and
going to
let's
have like
not
purchasable mounts and
artificially
all this kind of
restrict
BS.
Something that we can provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia, and we're happy to say this is one of those cases.
So, Wrath, the level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or
God,
just
here we go.
explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession, so we're really excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue this road to Wrath, we're going to be looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
Such an exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for classic fans,
Boost.
and taking us somewhere new with Dragonflight. We're so excited to be able to bring these adventures to you. Don't forget, there's a deep dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information.
Boost.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
It's so
We'll see you in
scummy.
Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
Oh dear. I kind of get why they do it though, but it's just, I don't know. It does taint
Hi
it.
there. Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve
Oh, here we
Denuser.
go.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
We've
Taryn's
got this
pretty
great
pimp.
expansion, exciting pre-render trailer that everyone just watched. So let's talk about the setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time in Warcraft
Well,
history as a mysterious
it's an island
place
and it has
where
some dragons
the
in it.
dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more than that.
We're going to this place that is kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they
Is it me or does he
nested,
look
where
a
they
lot
built
like Heel
their
versus
civilization.
Babyface?
The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just starting to form kingdoms of their own.
probably a
But
bit of the
when
beard.
the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world,
I see.
that magic
Darkness
kind of
before
drained
me.
away and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon
In
Isles
reference to
behind.
what?
And as we
This
saw in the
expansion or the,
pre-render, they left
Wrath of the Lich
behind
King?
some
Yeah,
Titan
Wrath of the Lich
Watchers
King.
to look over the land. And when someday
Kate.
they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home, reestablish their kingdom.
I mean,
And
at the end of the
that's when
day,
the message goes out to the flights, and they
the way
feel
I'm looking
it
at Wrath of the
comes.
Lich
Now
King
it's the time
is it's going to
for the
be,
sky to
I'm going
light
to just,
up
I'm
with
going
the
to play
colors of
it,
the aspects
and I'm
once
going to do
again.
some dungeoning,
And for Alex
but I don't know
Plaza,
really how much further I'm
home,
going.
but the land has
Like,
changed a lot
I
in
played a
all these
lot of
thousands
classics,
years they've
really
been
got
away,
into
and
classic.
some very old
I played a
threats have
decent
awakened
amount
as
of
well.
TBC,
Looking into
but
the
sort of
culture
fell off
of
because they
dragons
took
as
too
they
long to
exist in
introduce the new
Warcraft.
content.
Dragons as we know them today were very
They
different
delayed the
in
patches and
early
stuff like
past,
that.
the early history of Azeroth. They
So I
were
really don't know
much
how
more
long Wrath of the Lich
primitive,
King's
much
going
more
to hold me, to be
savage.
honest.
We now know as
But I definitely want to play
And
it.
some of the dragons were empowered
As for
to
this
become
expansion,
the
I guess I'll
aspects.
play it.
Green flight, red
I can-
flight,
I don't
blue
even
flight,
know.
bronze flight,
I
black
don't-
flight. Each
I don't
with unique
feel- I
powers,
haven't felt the
each
need
with
to play like World of
ability to
Warcraft
protect the world in
Classic.
different ways.
I mean
These
retail,
pillars of
sorry.
draconic power appointed to
For years,
defend
really.
Azeroth from
I
threats
have,
within
like-
and without.
I played the
Dragons
last
used
one. That
that
was quite
power
fun
both
with
for
Marcus
good
and
in the case
Pracky
of
at the
most of the
start.
aspects, but also for nefarious
But-
reasons in the case of the
Am I
Black
gonna stream it?
Dragonflight
I don't
led
know.
by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight
If people
is
wanted to
that
watch it,
some
I'd do
of
it,
these
but,
ancient
yeah, that's
divisions
part of the issue, isn't
run
it?
deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our players, to come to the Dragon Isles with them.
Yeah,
and
Ulduar.
face some
It
of
would be
these
cool to do
reawakening
Ulduar
challenges,
again,
because
Ulduar.
it's not just that this
Like
land is
legit.
peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as well.
Yeah.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jaredin.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the
Big lad.
Jaredin. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to
Yep.
be awesome.
I
We've
saw
got
that
other
frozen area, I
cultures
wondered.
there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later,
And some of
Oh, of
our
course they did.
favorite characters that we've seen over the last few expansions, such as Rathian.
and whether he's ready to step up into a leadership role, or if there are other
That's a
alternatives
good-looking man
out there
right there.
that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonflight.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the Dracthyr.
Furries. I mean, dragons.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so, in those first experiments, he took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had. And he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Dracthyr. Exploration is really one of the key themes of this expansion. We're going to be going to this ancient place that the dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away.
I
It's gonna
gotta
be a
say,
lot
the
of fun for
zones look
players to be
amazing.
Exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using
you're saying they should
Explorer's
involve
League
you
and
more,
the
Terrific?
Reliquary
Is that what you're
together,
saying?
that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look, upon the Dragon Isles and all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Calicos, along with Rathian, Ebonhorn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra, as each one of them is trying to find their own flight. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like
That will
just a breath
completely
of
change
fresh
the
air.
current story.
So
of
now
World
we're
of
going to turn
Warcraft.
things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
Hello,
I'm
Stephanie.
Josh.
I'm Jackie.
Hello,
I'm
Jackie.
Gary.
Hello,
And
Gary.
we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains.
Oh, wow.
The very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just
Looks
going
like Warlords
crazy.
of Draenor kind
The
of
art team
vibe.
again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper
Only if you're on the
beach,
winning
so
side.
that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate
She's wearing
of
more armor.
nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden,
Got
I
some
love
good
the
nod in
Jardins so
there.
much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma.
like massive
and
Draenei.
when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonflight for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore, but Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology.
They
We
can
got them
figure
in.
it out. They
Yep.
can fly.
You should be proud.
Thank you.
It's gonna be awesome.
The Onaran Plains come
You
right
need
after
to do
the
more
Waking
than that
Shores.
to make it awesome.
It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity.
Yeah, where's
that
the page?
cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of the
that.
plains. And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one
That's
who
some nice frame
guided
rate
the
right there.
centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the
Proto
centaur.
dragons were
The
pretty
centaur
freaking cool.
are these
The
mighty,
look of them.
awesome hunters that back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong. Maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now, the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan,
she
led
clearly
by
has
the
a
mighty
bias towards the
Brooke and
centaur.
Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in
Whose
generations
side are you on?
upon
But
generations.
even they're getting a bit nervous.
The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plain, and we want to be creative with them. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big, and you can see so
There's still,
far,
like, no
especially in Onaran
gameplay
Plains. So we talked to the
systems,
engineers,
really.
and we actually
I guess they haven't got
increased
that fleshed out
distance.
yet.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and
And it's
explore everything.
definitely isn't like a new expansion that's going to change up the meta. Do you know what I mean? Like really change how the game plays. It's just going to be more of the same.
But that's not really.
So they're just kind of coasting, to be honest.
Fun activities for people.
And I mean, that's kind of
the greatest
okay.
thing
Like,
is that you
they
need to
still
figure
make
out
money
exactly
from
what's
the
going
game.
on
They'll
and
still keep
help
coasting
solve
it.
all the problems
But
that
I
are
don't
just
think
sprouting
you're
up
going to get
everywhere.
anything
We're just really
revolutionary
excited
here
to tell a story
whatsoever.
that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about.
all right, Fred.
But now we're going to have some folks talking about the next two zones that players are going to
Oh yeah,
experience
this will be
in
a
the Dragon
pre-recorded
Isles.
video, absolutely. They're not doing this live, obviously.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate.
Hello,
I'm Christy.
Kate.
I'm
Hello,
Kate.
Christy.
I'm Sean.
I didn't
We're going
get
to talk
that.
today about Valdrassus
Did she say
and the
Kate as
Azure
well?
Span.
And Sean?
So Azure Span is going to be the third zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but
Sus.
wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been.
I mean,
up to
don't
the
get
Bay
me wrong,
Area,
like,
but in the morning,
they've
that coastal
nailed it.
fog
Like, the
comes
look
in
of
and
it
dips
is
down
gorgeous.
into the redwoods, and that
Like,
sun
leveling up in
shines
those
through. That's
areas
really
or
what we wanted
questing,
to
like, that looks
encapsulate with
fantastic.
this forest. And not only we have redwoods, we've
But that
got
doesn't
all
tell me
different types
really,
of
like,
trees.
whether I'm gonna
Eventually,
play the game
it'll
for more than
break
2
open
minutes
into
or
this
not, does
wide
it?
open tundra that's just golden and red.
But
and
they're just
you'll
spending
reach
all this
up
time
to
talking about the
another
looks of it.
level
That's
of
fine.
elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice.
Yeah,
we have
snow,
giant
snow.
frozen
It's white.
waterfalls, ice rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest we can expect
What's the
our
actual game,
first
though?
creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area, and then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest area. So then we go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
I like Snolls.
It's going to be really
Yeah.
neat to explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime's probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been
Wasn't
a little
that
while
funny.
since you've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool upres for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids.
The
so
female
we're gonna
Tuskar.
fight alongside them, which
Work in
includes
progress.
help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos, our blue dragon buddy from the Kirin Tor, and he's going to be adventuring into Syndragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Aldraz's.
Aldraz's.
It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings.
The gameplay
But when you
changes,
get to
the talents
Thaldraz's,
revamp.
everything
Well,
is
that's what I'm worried
perfectly
about. They
intact,
haven't-
It's beautiful. It's pristine.
They haven't talked
It
about any
is the
gameplay
seat
stuff,
of
so
power
either it's
for all
still
5
work in
Dragonflights
progress.
and home of the dragons. It feels that way.
This
with
is all
these
story
huge
and
vertical
art at the moment.
mountains. We've got these great cave systems where you may end up
See?
finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite Dragonflight
But they're not
right
saying
now is the
anything, do you know what I mean? It's like
Bronze.
saying-
They've got a really cool
speaking
area
without saying
in
anything.
Aldraz's, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken.
Okay,
It
well, that's
is
a bit more. Now we've
culmination
got a
of
place
all of
where the characters are
Dragon's
gonna go.
efforts to put together what a city would look like.
build
so
and
we
use their
ended up having
professions.
a bunch of really fun small
Get
vignettes
the
where you
quests
can
from.
see that the blue Dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green Dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenient services for
So
players,
you're gonna have to pick
including
your
an auction
Dragonflight,
house
are
in
you?
the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Aldraz's was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a
Like,
10,000-year-old
this is
Titan technological.
one thing World of Warcraft definitely does is it takes what they've done in the previous expansion and they do more of it in the next expansion, and they slowly introduce some new stuff. So I'm surprised I haven't heard anything from about a Torghast 2.0. But you've got class halls that were in previous expansions. That's what these dragon halls are going to be like. The green dragons are going to do their own thing. You know, in like Shadowlands, you had to pick your covenant. Like these are basically just going to be another version of covenants. Like a
Tierhold
green,
was built by
red,
Tyr. He was
black.
a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakron. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence.
Tyr,
But
man,
that
what the
was
hell?
10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have
Shopping?
your own dragon wings. You are
What?
going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to
God damn,
dive
I
off
could be
the
bothered
tops
to
of
do a nod
towers
count,
and
but
swoop
yeah.
under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about next.
There's a lot of fakery, smiling,
Hi, I'm Jake.
convincing themselves.
I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about
Gameplay?
Dracthyr Evoker, our new race and
Okay.
class coming in Dragonflight.
So we got
We're here
some
to talk
systems.
about not only the Evoker, but also Dragonriding, which is our exciting expression
into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake. Okay. I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dracthyr, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dracthyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So Evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your
that's
growth
pretty
and your nurturing
creative, at
spells.
least.
And then you have your bronze
makes
magic,
sense.
which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell, but it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy, your team.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really cool.
They're awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And the customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me you
tell
can
us about the
change
color. You can do a lot of matching. So your visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Dracthyr form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here. We finally did it. As players make their way through
Wow.
each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with
That's
the
why we didn't get a
Dragonflights
good
to
Warcraft
move through the air
Reforged.
as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called Dragonriding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
We're aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add
I thought
that
I heard
sense of
Rexar's theme.
physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge
That's Warcraft
team
3
effort,
music in
not
the
just
background.
animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display
Splat.
to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity, which really adds to the overall kind of immersion.
I feel like that'd be fun for about
reality.
5 minutes, and it'll just be annoying.
As players make their way through
Because
the
you feel
Dragon
like you
Isles,
have to
they'll
do it
discover
every
new
time if you want to
cosmetic
get some good
options
speed.
to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like snoots, horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to provide players with all new skills to play with, as those who can use their momentum
Warcraft
well
is not censored
can
in
reach
chat, I
higher
don't
and
think.
higher heights, and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have so many new gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
We're getting somewhere. They saved the important stuff to the end.
Hello, my name is
Jesus,
Ryan.
right.
I'm
Here we
Crash.
go.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited
looks
to share
very
we're
unhappy to
finally
be there.
revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for
That's
us
Swole
to
Linker.
finally revamp the WoW HUD?
He did get swole.
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and we have better dev tools to work with. So it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen in time.
So when we approached this, we
Yeah,
wanted
it
to
is pretty old
create
school, that
a
HUD.
layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality, to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
She is really cute.
The art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI, but do a modern take to it.
I knew you was going to say which one.
Give it more visibility.
She is. Like, she's actually kind of my type. Aww.
They have less head frames, and it can really open up your gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way. So we for sure updating the Griffins. They look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. You're gonna have your version as well.
Let's
talk about the edit mode.
We are putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around on the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. If I want to bring my action
I
bars
like
from
to
the bottom
simp.
and
Why
connect
do
them
I
more
like
in
to
the
simp? What are you
center by my
talking about? I
character,
just
those
think
are
she looks
all
cute.
things that I'll be able to do.
She does.
Absolutely. And each of those different components will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work with. They'll be able to
What's wrong with
save
you?
it, edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're
Yeah, it
gonna
sounds
keep
like they're trying
working
to
on it. So
create their
we
own
really want to hear
mods.
back from you.
So
A
we don't
project that
have
we're
to
all
have...
excited about,
Because
that
this is
we've
one
been
of the things that
collaborating a
really
lot
puts you
on,
off,
something that's pretty
me
UI
off at
intensive,
least,
and that's
going back to
talent
World of
system.
Warcraft, is
It
having to
hadn't changed in a
install all the
long time,
mods.
like you said before. And we really started with, how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Oh,
we
yeah, it
started
is
looking
emote
for
chat
a
only.
system that would give players a
I just
much
thought that was the
larger set
chat
of
doing that.
options.
And after looking at all those things, what
The
we
moderators
really returned back
took
to
off the-
was the idea of
they're
trees.
censoring
But
the
it's
chat.
actually 2 trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's damage, tank, or
Yeah, I don't think the
healing.
emote...
Can I just jump in and say that
The emotes
I
aren't doing it
personally
much
am super
justice. Do you know what I
excited
mean?
about
Like,
having trees
you'd
come
probably
back.
be better off just
There's a
having
big
people type what
nostalgia
they
hit
want
for me.
than
As we
show
said, we
the
have these
emotes.
2 trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
You have
I
seen
still
that
don't know
a
how that's
lot
gonna
through
work.
most recent expansions, but not at the base UI.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. We want you to be able to make a lot of changes at a lot of times and not necessarily have to commit. The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to feel locked into. And so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
But talents are like
these are
nothing
really
new.
cool
Again, there's
features
still
that
like
we've been
nothing
working
new
long
here.
and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them.
Yeah, she
Please
is,
reach out to
Tyra.
us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool
Archaeology
incremental updates over
2.0,
their
let's
life.
go.
But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to
I'll have to fight
rethink
for her.
professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions
What
feel
are you, an
fun
incel
and
or
relevant
something,
across all
Kekfit?
levels.
It's like,
That
if
brings
I
us
like
to
a girl,
our
it's
first
called
update, something that
simping.
we're calling
It's
crafting
like, hang on a
orders.
second, so I'm supposed
If
to
you want
not
to have
like
something
girls
crafted
or
for
women
you,
or
but you
what?
don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for
What the hell's
yourself,
wrong with you?
You can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands
Girls
on.
are gay.
You can find someone in
Yeah.
person to do it right in front of you for you. Or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild?
I'd like
or
to know a
a
bit more about
specific
what they're
other
doing in
player,
Wrath of the
maybe
Lich
a
King,
friend
but I
who
get
know
that they're
will
not going to talk
craft
about
it
that
really
for a
well
while,
you.
or
If
not
you
in
are
here.
really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
Oh, hang on.
Also
Shit,
really
Twitch
cool 'cause
chat
it
is
means
back.
As a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra.
That's
You're
weird.
also
How
gonna
comes
be
Twitch chat
leveling
is
up
back
your
now?
profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're gonna notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just gonna be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
And we're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your
Can you all stop pretending that your message got deleted by a
This is
moderator?
another
Because it
major
didn't.
input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting.
I've got my hands up here. I'm not doing anything.
specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave. who
What
can
if you
teach you
did
a little bit
like
about
dungeons and stuff to
So
get
let's say you're a
specialization
blacksmith.
points, and then you can
You
spend
might
that into
decide that
professions?
first you want to become an armor
So you can
smith.
actively do
And the
things
more
that you might
points
want
you
to do,
spend in armor smithing,
rather than
the
just
better you're
click
gonna
on a
get
book
at
on a
crafting
shelf.
all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody is providing
Message
something
deleted by
unique
Fred.
and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're gonna take those and we're gonna put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're gonna go in there and you're gonna get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're gonna walk into the city and you're gonna see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're gonna see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. It's gonna be a whole new crafting area that's gonna make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about, though, is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession, and when you go to, say, mine a node, you're actually going to just switch into that gear. It's going to be really great.
You're not gonna have to carry that.
But what does that do
around in your
anything? That
backpack
doesn't change it.
anymore. It's actually going to be dedicated slots.
It's not really for
each-
me.
Each of your pieces.
This sort of
But
stuff does nothing
I'm a numbers
for me.
guy. I love progressing.
like-
All pieces of profession.
I don't
gear
need
will
my
have
characters to
those
look
special
good or
stats
do
that we
something
mentioned
fancy
before
when
on
they're
them.
doing something
And
that's
as you
just
get
as
your
simple
hands
as
on better
right-clicking
versions
on
of the
something.
gear, it's really going to help you
Immersion,
get better at your
I
profession.
guess. That stuff doesn't make much
Thank
difference
you
for me.
for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
You've heard a lot about the content.
My
and changes
immersion is
coming in
actually just good
Dragonflight, and
gameplay.
we've got a lot more in store for
Then
you
I'll
in the
be
coming months.
immersed.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
Yay. All right, there you go. What do you guys think about the latest World of Warcraft expansion? Are you looking forward to becoming a Scaly?